It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's arch support experts. Hope everybody's doing well, ready for another good weekend. A little bit slower around this way, a little bit. You know, we got a weekend off until Alabama plays, but that doesn't mean that they're slowing down. They kick back off their prep for Oklahoma, back to practice today officially, and things are underway. So we'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit of an early preview about the Oklahoma rematch, revenge game, whatever you want to call it. First round in the playoffs. We'll dive into that here on the show a little bit. We'll continue the talks about the coaching search for Michigan. A lot of, I guess, a lot of things still pointing at Kalen DeBoer being a favorite for them, right? Definitely not mutual to my understanding, but we'll dive into some of the latest conversations regarding that whole deal. And is it true that Kalen DeBoer could be a target, right? Not saying that it happens or he has interest, but is he a target? We'll discuss that here in a little bit on this Free-For-All Friday. With it being a Free-For-All Friday, we'd love to hear from you guys, 205-342-9904, whatever is on y'all's mind. We'd love to discuss it. You can call in, talk to us right there on the phone lines, or you can always download that Tide 100.9 app. It's completely free. All you got to do is go to your Apple App Store, Google Play Store, whatever it is on your phone or tablet, download it, and that will give you the ability to listen to the shows wherever you're at, no matter if you're in the area, out of the area, in the country, or out of the country. You can do that. Plus, you can always leave app messages right there. I've got them pulled up on my email, so I'll refresh it throughout the show. That way we stay on top of them. Plus, you can leave some voice messages if you guys want to do that as well. And we always urge you to check out our stream if you haven't already. If you prefer to watch us do the show live, you can always come over to our YouTube channel at The Miller's Edge. All we ask is you like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. And, yeah, you can watch me do the show, watch the things we pull up, the tape. We do that a lot on here. Plus, we'll bring I almost said we bring cigars. We don't bring cigars on here. I just saw the ad on the stream. We bring up the interviews and the press conferences. So I believe there should be player availability today. So we had Nakai Hill-Green on the show a couple of days ago, but there will be some interviews. So we'll probably play some of those from the players today as well. I was about to say, I don't think anything else crazy is going on other than some of the latest updates in terms of scheduling. We have the official 2026 schedule that has been released. Some people feeling like it's a little bit of a brutal schedule that Alabama was dealt. Reed, now I don't know if you've checked it out or really have any big thoughts on it, but I'm trying to pull it up so I can put it on the screen for everybody. I know the biggest thing that people were concerned with regarding the 2026 schedule was the gauntlet that Alabama set to face. It's a 3-game stretch, then a bye week, then you have LSU per usual. But what it was you had, I think it was Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M bye week, then LSU. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on this schedule. You know what's interesting, guys, because I heard Wyatt back there as well. When I first saw it, I personally didn't think it was as brutal as a lot of people were saying. To me, I almost felt that it looked manageable. And maybe just because I just kind of just glanced at it initially. But I see, and this is what it reads. First game, September 5th, you've got Eastern Carolina. You follow that up with Kentucky, and I probably should get it where these are. Oh, wait, it does tell you. I'm sorry. Home, you got your first game, September 5th, is home against Eastern Carolina. And the next week, you go on the road to Kentucky. New coach there. They haven't been a good football team in quite some time. So, first 2 games, they are what they are, but you do have an SEC game week 2. You've got Florida State, that matchup in Bryant-Denny Stadium, September 19th. We know how it went this past year, but listen, I don't know. Personally, I mean, I view that as, look, it is what it is. I mean, they got the best of us this last time around. I'm not ready to put that as some game that, oh, man, some daunting game, right, just because we lost to them. And, in fact, they ended up being a pretty bad football team throughout the rest of the year, and they've got a lot of issues going on right now at Florida State. So I'm not really too concerned. Plus, you got them at home. And you've got South Carolina at home, which, they normally play us pretty tough. Shane Beamer does a good job of that program, but it's South Carolina. I mean, they're struggling themselves. Same with Mississippi State. Scrappy football team. They've been playing a lot better, but go on the road, play Mississippi State. Listen, good competitive game, I'm sure, just because they're coming along, but you get the point. So that's your first 5 games. All right, cool. If I'm looking at this from my perspective, I would say good chance you start off 5-0. I think we all can agree there. Not saying it's easy, right? But I think we can agree on that. Then here's the gauntlet. You got Georgia, but you got them at home, October 10th. Then you go on the road to Tennessee. We know what that's all about. Definitely a tough matchup, always playing in Knoxville. Then you come home and you face Texas A&M, who we know is a really good football team. They've done a nice job. Really only lost 1 game this year to Texas down the stretch. Probably should have or could have been in the SEC championship, but they fell to Texas, and we know how that went. We'll see how they end up finishing the year in the playoffs. Then you travel to LSU after the bye week. So that's tough. So that's the big stretch. And then I guess Vanderbilt as well. Now you can throw them in there. Like, okay, that's going to be a tough game potentially. They're losing Pavia. We'll see how that looks. I mean, I really like their coach, Clark Lee. I think he does a really good job, but it's kind of to be determined. I mean, anytime a team gets a whole new quarterback, especially when it's been a guy like Pavia who kind of was their whole system, I'm kind of pumping the brakes on them a little bit. I mean, I think they'll still be a good football team, but curious to see how they look post Pavia. Then you got Chattanooga and then Auburn at home. Personally, Reed, Wyatt, whoever's back there today, I can't help but look at that schedule. To me, I didn't necessarily think it was the hardest schedule we've had. And maybe that's me being naive. I do understand Georgia as a top 5. If we're talking about right now, Georgia top 5 matchup, Texas A&M, where they end up coming in at was like 7, I think, right behind Ole Miss, something like that. Tennessee, it's a good program. Then LSU, who's now has Lane Kiffin in charge. So we'll see what they look like. What did you think, Reed, when you first saw that schedule? I mean, did you agree with some of the things that I was seeing online that, a lot of people are a little concerned? Or were you like me and were kind of like, all right, I feel like, you got a tough stretch, but it's definitely manageable?
Well, actually, first, I was kind of on the side, of October is going to be war. All right, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M. But then I looked at how many games we have before that stretch, and that kind of gave me some confidence because it's more compared to this season and previous season. It feels like it's more experience to go into those games, kind of feeling like a complete team. And I feel like having that in the later half of the season kind of gives me some more hope, and that we're just going to execute on better levels than we did, like, let's just say this season when we played the earlier slate of games.
Yeah, I'm curious y'all's thoughts on this. I got to go back and look and really think about it, but comparing this schedule from 2025 to the one that was just released for 2026, which one would you say is the more difficult schedule? It seemed like a lot of people lean towards 2026, but the schedule we had this year was, it was tough. Saw.
Plus, Christian, you got to think we don't start on the road this season as well. So I think that's another good thing to get some footing at home against a team that, respect to Eastern Carolina, but we're gonna, we're gonna come out.
What are they? The Pirates? What are they? The Pirates or something like that? You don't think the Pirates are going to test us week 1 at Bryant Denny State? Look, didn't they have a decent year a couple years ago? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. I feel like I remember seeing them, like, for decent for them. Not saying they were pulling like a Tulane and almost in the playoffs, but for some reason I feel like they were okay. I don't know what their record was this past year. I'll look into it. I hadn't even had a chance to do that. I was trying to pull up our schedule to put them side by side real quick, but when you look at it from this year, Florida State to open things up on the road, like you said, that's always tough when you start off going on the road to. I know Florida State ended up being bad, but you get my point. It's it is what it is. ULM, Wisconsin, at Georgia versus Vanderbilt, who was ranked at the time, at Missouri, who was ranked at the time, versus Tennessee, who was ranked at the time, at South Carolina, was not ranked, but that was a tough game. But then you come back after the bye week, LSU, Oklahoma, you got the Eastern Illinois, then Auburn. I feel like they're similar in a sense. Look, the way I view this one is like you just said, Reed. I feel like you got the first 5 games, and again, I think South Carolina, Mississippi State. I'm not just writing those off, but they're just like, let's be honest. They're at the lower part of the conference. Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, LSU, maybe a half point to Vanderbilt. Like that stretch, cool, but then I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a little similar to what we felt or what we dealt with this year. I don't know. I want to get y'all's thoughts. 205-342-9904 is the number. Plus, you can always drop into the YouTube chat or download that Tide 100.9 app. Let me know y'all's thoughts before we dive into a little bit of the coaching talk and the Oklahoma stuff. I wanted to throw that out there because that did just get released yesterday. I want to get y'all's thoughts, man. Is this upcoming schedule tougher in y'all's opinion, right? Let me know. First, we hit a timeout, then we'll come back and discuss it right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. That's right, Julian. Shout out to Chase. Graduating today over at Mississippi State, man. Chase is the man. And not only is he graduating, Chase had one hell of a week, right? He also got awarded with Employee of the Month. So shout out to Chase, not only graduating, but also being recognized as Employee of the Month here at Town Square / Tide. Who we got in here? Kenji, Jake, what's up? Q on it, what's up? Mike, Dwight, QD, what's up? Ricky, what's going on this year? Schedule was tough or rough. Yeah, no, it definitely was. But that's why I'm like, I don't know. You guys in the chat, you tell me. What do y'all think? Which schedule is more difficult, 25 or 26? I mean, I guess we'll know more down the road. It's not always evenly, comparing it. Now we're on like the we've seen what 25 was and how the teams played out. I mean, because technically, if you look at it, Missouri ended up not being as good as they were at the time. What was Tennessee was what when we played them, like 14 through 17 or something like that? Is that what they're? I think that I want to say like 14. I don't know where they finished up at, but Jake, you think 25 was tougher? That was the other thing I was going to point out. I appreciate you bringing that up. 26 is only one bye. Well, that's a good thing to bring up. I was thinking about that too. The tough games, the good news is you're at home. I mean, like you got Georgia at home and you got A&M at home. You know what I mean? Like I feel like last year you went to Georgia, you played at Missouri, who was solid at the time. I mean, I guess you had Oklahoma at home, had LSU at home, Tennessee at home. I mean, those were clutch. Vanderbilt at home. You did have a lot of home games. But when you look at 26, I think what helps out is, yeah, you play Georgia and Texas A&M, but I mean, I guess there's no denying it. That is a stretch. I would break that up though, because you have that bye week before LSU, and typically, man, when we have a bye week before we play LSU, I feel like we play pretty well. I mean, you really just got to look at Georgia one at home, and then going on the road. Tennessee's always tough on the road, and then A&M, like just making it through that 3-game stretch. Excuse me, I think everything else feels very manageable. I mean, just how I feel about it. Looking at it right now, things will change. I'm sure we'll see some different things come up. I mean, LSU might be interesting with Lane Kiffin there. I think how he addresses the portal window will probably give us a little bit more context on what those guys will be. Oh, whoops, we're already back. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts, your place for those premium arch supports designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, they take care of it. Clinically proven to do so in just 4 short weeks, so make sure you guys check them out if you haven't already. Again, they're located right here in Tuscaloosa in Midtown Village, right off of McFarland Boulevard, but if you're not here, don't worry about it. They've got locations throughout the state of Alabama, Mobile, Birmingham. I want to say maybe Gadsden, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the other two, but make sure you guys check them out if you haven't, and go to their website, goodfeet.com. That way you can schedule an appointment, find the nearest location to you. Again, they are nationwide. That is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. We're talking about the 2026 schedule that was released yesterday. Alabama, I would say, I mean, it's definitely a tough schedule. We need to compare it to some of these other schools, but in my mind, I feel like it's manageable. I feel like you got to, first 5 games, right? Very fair. Very fair. I think there's a good chance you can be 5-0. And you got this, middle little gauntlet, like kind of like similar to what we had this past year. You take Georgia at home, go on the road to Tennessee, take Texas A&M at home, and then you have a bye week. Then you've got LSU on the road, Vanderbilt on the road, Chattanooga and Auburn both at home. So to me, I personally feel like it's manageable. I think just get through the Georgia, Tennessee, A&M part, reset, come out the bye week, then LSU and Vanderbilt on the road, Chattanooga at home, Auburn at home. I mean, to me, I think it's manageable for sure. But the question I got for you guys right now is, which schedule do you feel like is or will be more difficult when it's said and done, 25 or 26? I'm seeing what you guys are saying in the chat right now. I know Jake said 25 was tougher, 26, most of our tough games are at home. Ryan, he's alluding to Georgia and Texas A&M being the 2 most difficult games on the schedule, as of now at least, being at home, which I agree with him there. Zach says 26, there's only 1 bye week. That is something to note as well. That's definitely going to be different instead of having 2. But, I'll be honest with you. I feel like majority of the time, in fact, we only had 1 bye week when I was playing here. Maybe I'm making that up. Maybe we always had 2. I feel like sometimes we had 2 and sometimes we had 1.
Christian, if you don't mind me asking, I was going to ask
yeah,
you, we're looking quite far ahead, but just your early thoughts on what game could potentially be seen as a quote-unquote trap game for the 2026 schedule.
Great question. And they gave me a chance to count this. We're officially underway with the 9-game SEC schedule, correct? I just want to make sure I'm good on that. I know we have 9 looking at it, but that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like, do we know who is Kentucky considered the bonus one that we've gotten? Does that sound right?
I believe so, yeah. They didn't specifically say which bonus one. They just, of course, said our annual opponents being Mississippi State, Tennessee, Auburn.
But ironically, we ended up getting LSU anyway, which is nice. I know it's all going to rotate. It's all hard to keep up with. But, yeah, so, I mean, I guess, look, if you break it down, so, yes, we are in the official 9-game SEC schedule, which I'll be honest with you, seeing the way the committee is handling things, I worry that this 9-game scheduling might come back to bite us a little bit. Unfortunately, I know we were pushing to try to get some guarantees and some assurance that, hey, if we do go to a 9-game schedule, we're not going to have to worry about beating each other up and knocking each other off or out, I should say. And unfortunately, that's probably going to be the case until they fix some stuff with the committee, which could be coming soon. That said, UK, Kentucky is the added SEC game. I can live with that, honestly. I mean, basically replace Wisconsin with Kentucky. Yeah, I think it's probably pretty similar. Chapman says you had 1 bye week, Christian. Yeah, I was about to say I feel like I think there's like 1 or 2 seasons we might have had 2. I do remember that, but I think most of the time it was 1. And I don't know what the difference was with the scheduling at that time, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Kenji says 25 feels more difficult. QD says 26 is tougher to me because of the Georgia UT and A&M games back to back to back. I mean, but to be fair, I mean, what about the 4-game stretch we went on this year? I mean, it looks different now that we look at it, but remember at the time, I mean, those are ranked teams, and look at how we handled those games. I mean, if you look at it, you can say, all right, Georgia, we played solid on the road there. I know the second half, was what it was, but you come out with the dub on the road there. Vanderbilt was a good football team, still is. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs, but they're right there on the cusp of it. At Missouri, I mean, Missouri, they really were solid. At the time, they definitely were good. I mean, we're talking about averaging like 300 yards rushing, and we went to Missouri, had a really good defense. We walk out of there with the win. Then Tennessee. I mean, we beat them 37-20. Man, that was a good football team. So I feel like, it's definitely a tough stretch, but I think it's manageable. Yeah, I definitely think it's manageable. And I think the new standard is as long as I shouldn't say that because I guess Vanderbilt got left out. And Texas was a 3-loss team, like BYU, but they're not comparable. I'm trying to think of any other I have to pull up the playoffs real quick, like the official rankings, I should say. That said, looking at this schedule, I feel like the strength of schedule, I don't know if that's already officially out. Probably not because you probably have to wait on everybody else. But I would argue that Bama probably could afford to lose 2 losses again next year and still be okay in terms of the playoff hunt, given the schedule. And I'm assuming the strength of schedule is probably going to be up there. Because let's just hypothetically speaking, like I would argue that preseason, and we'll know more once the playoffs, play out. But Georgia A&M, those are going to be top 10 teams, going into next year. I would imagine Tennessee and LSU will probably be top 25 teams. And Vanderbilt, yeah, I mean, so it looks like going into the year, I would imagine maybe you have four, at least guaranteed four, but maybe five top 25 teams on your schedule. So I feel like you've got some room to kind of have a similar. I think that's just a new standard in college football. It kind of is what it is at this point. To answer your question, Reed, which was, remind me one more time. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. You said a trap game.
Yes, trap game. Like just kind of looking ahead, initial thoughts. What is the trap game, quote unquote, for 2026?
What is the trap game? Well, I'll answer. Then I want to get y'all's thoughts on this too. Again, 205-342-9904 is the number. We don't have any guests lined up for today, so we're open the whole way if you guys want to jump in on it. Trap game, let's see. I don't think Kentucky. South Carolina at home, Mississippi State. I think it would be between, off first glance, I would say maybe Mississippi State on the road. And the reason I say that is, I mean, I know they fired their defensive coordinator. They're trying to make some changes there, but they've made some strides this year, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're great, but I mean, didn't they get like a top 25 win over, was it Arizona State at the time or something like that? And they played and they played some close games. I mean, let me pull up their full schedule from, or not schedule, but God, can I just get the actual schedule here? No, not basketball. All right, look, if I had to pick one, and I'll pull up their schedule here in a minute, I would probably say right now, Mississippi State would be my pick for a trap game, just because I don't think Vanderbilt would really be considered a trap game because they're a much better team now. LSU, I mean, they're a good team, and they've got Lane Kiffin now. I mean, that I wouldn't really think that qualifies either. Then we clearly know Georgia through Texas and A&M. Like that's not, or excuse me, Tennessee and Texas A&M. No, none of those. So I would say either between South Carolina and Mississippi State, and I probably would give the edge to Mississippi State. What about you, Jackson, before we hit this timeout?
Christian, I'm probably going to say Mississippi State as well. I was talking to Wyatt, and he was saying how when you get to that Mississippi State game, you're traveling on the road, but you're already looking ahead to the Georgia game, and considering the fact that cowbells will be ringing, I just think that's one game to watch out for, especially with how hot Mississippi State started the season off this season. If they continue that, if they would have continued that into SEC play, I think they could have been one to watch out for. Unfortunately, their non-conference kind of was nothing compared to their SEC, which is kind of what we expected. But if they keep that season opener rolling and continue it to the middle of the season and get their stride, that's one game to for sure watch out for.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now. I mean, they definitely took their fair share of L's. They played Tennessee close, who was at the time, or is that now? No, that was at the time. Tennessee was ranked 15th at the time. They lost 41-34. I mean, they played them close. A&M wasn't great. Lost a close one to Florida. Lost a close one to Texas, 45-38. Narrowly escaped Arkansas. I remember that game. Lost by 20 to Georgia. Got beat down by 22 to Missouri. Then another double-digit loss to Ole Miss. But, yeah, I would probably say maybe Mississippi State. But I'm curious what y'all think on that. Schedule comparisons, and then a trap game, man. We'll hit a timeout when we come back. We'll keep discussing it. Plus, we'll start talking a little Oklahoma here in a minute, and the latest with this whole Michigan deal and them having their sights on Kalen DeBoer. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey guys, are you ready to take control of your health, energy, and performance? Primetime Men's Health Clinic is ready to help. Their clinic is built around the idea.
Let's see. Tell Notre Dame try and play any SEC team. Schedule and shut up. It is interesting. I was listening to Marcus Freeman. He was talking about like them trying to preserve the whole like non-conference thing. And I guess on one end, I'm like, I mean, if that's their tradition or something, like I could understand trying to preserve it, but I don't know. I think at some point, man, the whole independent thing, if you want to be competitive, you're just going to have to move on from that, man. I mean, is there that much history in that? Like, seriously? Like, is it like, is there that? I'm seriously asking, is there that much history in being independent that you don't want to give it up, knowing that it's potentially keeping you from, at least like competing for championships? I don't know if that's worth it to me. I don't know. I feel like there's a clip I was supposed to play. Let me go on Twitter. I feel like there's something I was supposed to play. We gotta start getting more into basketball too. What's we ain't even really talked about the latest there. Christian, they get all the revenue money for themselves. Why would you give it up? Well, if it was stopping me from having a chance to make the playoffs and do that kind of stuff, I mean, I guess you just got to consider what's so you're saying, so say it's like $20 million, the SEC has to split that in it across like every single team, not just the playoff teams. Is it like every single team in the conference? Do I remember that correctly? They didn't make the playoff this one year versus all the other years. There's no way I'm joining a conference. But is that how that works, guys? I want to say that is. Hold on, we're back.
9149 Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
Asphalt Restoration.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Trying to catch up on some of these chat messages right here in the YouTube comment section. Again, you can always come hang out with us on the stream here. Let's see. When Bama ran the ball versus Oklahoma, good things happened. Daniel Hill was eating. Roll Tide. We'll dive into that here in a minute. Now, I'll probably pull up that tape to kind of go back and watch some of the things that really transpired. We know the turnovers, but I want to go back too and see what was, working. What are the things that we did do well? Because I think sometimes, like, right, when you're breaking down tape, and it's a normal habit, it's what you should do. I've always been a firm believer. You're always trying to, find ways to get better, right, and eliminate errors. But sometimes you also need to go back and say, hey, what are we doing well? Or like, what is working? Like, what do we need to do more of? And I feel like we haven't done enough of that when we do break down. I should say I haven't when we're breaking it down. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll go back and look for the positives in the Oklahoma game and see what we can build off of. Off the top of my head, I remember, there's a lot of stuff underneath that we were taking advantage of. I remember Cuevas had a really big game where there was like, delayed tight end screens, him, underneath. I think we had, because they played it similar. Georgia and Oklahoma, they played it very similar, top down, taking away the deep parts of the field and basically forcing those check downs and flats. So we'll go back and watch that here in a minute. What else do we have in here? Zach says Mississippi State always hits when they play us. They just don't tackle. They're out to hurt us. Dang, you said they got like I don't know, like some bounties on us, man. Coach Saban always said those guys, he low-key like sneaked this to me. It was like Mississippi State's like filled with a bunch of guys that wanted to play here but didn't get that opportunity, and now they have like, I don't know how you explain it, like vengeance, or like they're like jealous or envy you guys. So not to throw a coach on the bus, but that was kind of how you described it when we played them. That's what, like, they're going to play us tough because they wanted to be in your shoes pretty much. In terms of the Notre Dame thing, like, do you guys really think it's all about money? That's the only thing that personally, I'm sure that's part of the equation. And what I'm referring to is in the chat, we were talking about Notre Dame, and I was saying they just need to join a conference, give up the independence. But Tia and others were saying, well, they're not going to give up that money, because the way it works is if you do, what is it, like making the playoffs, and the conference splits all the money with all the other teams. But I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money they're receiving, I guess, if they make it. But I guess that's true. I don't know. Tia did submit an app message. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start there with the app messages. Reed says he has it pulled up already. So Reed, floor is yours.
Yeah, so this is from Tia. She left the app message saying, prior to the SEC championship game, Saban repeatedly talked about Ty leaving the home position to change plays. He stated, then other team is changing the defense, so that doesn't create any advantage for you by checking the play on offense. Can you break that down for us and break down why the offense would still think it serves as an advantage and then break down Saban's point?
Okay, that's actually a really good talking point. We got a few minutes to dive into it real quick, and let me try to pull up an example while we're at it. Did he do it a lot in the Georgia game? I'm sure he did. I feel like for some reason I feel like he did a lot more in like the weeks prior. I mean, he's done it all year. I mean, we've been talking about that all year. Man, has been so impressive how Ty can get guys in position, and I've even talked about it. And I think to an extent it does give you an advantage. Then at other times it definitely can be a disadvantage. So let's talk about the advantages of it and the disadvantages of it. The reason we're even able to do this now, and the reason you hadn't really seen this a whole bunch in college football, is because before there was no helmet comms, right? Communications between players and coaches via their helmets. Now, remember, the rules state that you can have one player on offense and one player on defense. So that's going to be your quarterback and your Mike linebacker. They're going to have that helmet headset, and they're able to talk to their coordinator, their coach, for up to like the 15-second mark. Once you hit the 15-second mark, the comms shut off. So what are the advantages of that? Well, what happens is what they'll do, and what you'll see us do, I'll pull up an example. Really good question. It's a great thing to talk about. You'll see the fake clap. You'll see the hard count deal. And all that's doing is they're trying to see what the defense is in. That's why you'll see Ty do it all the time. The fake clap, hard count, and you'll see if they're bringing pressure, you'll see defenders, they'll start going up to the line of scrimmage. They stop. And then what do? They start looking to the sideline. They start communicating via the headset. And then the offense is going to say, all right, this is what they're showing. They're showing safety blitz from the field, or they're showing both backers are about to blitz A gaps, right? And so then we end up checking and saying, all right, well, they showed this. We're going to get to this. It would work out great if it was like, all right, they didn't have enough. You know what I'm saying? If you kind of try to manage it where they didn't have that opportunity as well. But what Coach Saban is saying is it really ends up being nullified because you then check, and then what are they going to do? They're going to check. They're going to say, oh, they know we're about to blitz A gaps. Oh, they know we're bringing a field sting. Oh, they know we're in man-to-man coverage right here. Let's go to a zone concept. So that's what Coach Saban is saying about there's no advantage really. I would say this. I feel like yes and no. I mean, because granted, you don't know what they're checking to, and I'm sure they're checking to something different. Sometimes they actually don't check. Sometimes they fake check. If you guys haven't noticed, they'll fake check. Then they end up running the same pattern or whatever they were doing or they showed initially. But I do think, like, offensively, it at least gives you an opportunity to get an idea on what they might do versus going into it. Like, I mean, you can always still read your keys and say, all right, this is what they're showing or disguising without doing that. But personally, I mean, I definitely understand and respect what Coach Saban is saying. But I think there's been times that it actually has helped us, at least like earlier in the year. I mean, there's a reason I would bring that up because it was evident. And that's why all these people, these NFL pundits and whatnot watching Ty would compliment that because those checks have had a lot of success, at least earlier on in the year. Now, as of recently, I think people or defenses, I should say, have started to also be ready to check the checks. But before, I feel like it was really working in our favor because, I mean, I remember watching fake snap, see what they're lined up in, we get a different call in, and we have success on that play. But yes, as of recent, I feel like it hadn't been as much as an advantage because I just think defenses are a little bit more prepared to also go in and check things as well. What was the whole part of that question, Reed? I think there was like something else to it. Did I miss something?
No, I think it was just pretty much like you said. It was just breaking down on Saban's point about the home position, and he stated then other team is changing the defense, so that doesn't create any advantage for you by checking the play on offense.
Yeah, so basically he's just saying like the fact that they also have the ability to check kind of nullifies that, which he's definitely right. But I feel like there's still some ability to gain from that. Because remember, before it was all relying on just signals. Like people still did it. They still did the fake clap, and then they would look to the sideline. But it's a lot different when you literally have your coach in your ear saying, "Hey, they're in a cover 2 shell. We're getting this look. If they do this, be ready to do this." Like he can also start saying, like, "Hey, be ready to do this. If they do this." Then it cuts off at the 15-second. Then that's up to Ty to pursue things. Tia says, feel like we're doing so much that it gives them a chance to play chess with us more, which that's the other thing. I mean, again, they also have time to line up and get another thing and also play a little chess themselves. That's why I was saying sometimes they fake check. I mean, I've literally watched defenses start doing signals, acting like they're changing something. They literally they run the same, blitz, pressure, whatever that they initially showed. So at the end of the day, I mean, that's football in itself, man. I mean, football is always going to be that. I will say this, though. I think sometimes we take way too much time trying to get plays going. We take way too many timeouts because we're trying to get the perfect thing. And I think at some point, man, you just got to read what you're seeing and say, all right, man, look, they're showing a too high shell here. We're motioning here to basically, find out if they're a man or zone or not. We got it. Boom. Let's just do something. I think sometimes we do a little too much. I do agree with that. But, I mean, I think there's still an opportunity to gain a little bit from the checks. But you're right. Defenses have definitely started doing it themselves. And I think you're starting to pick up on that more on this back half of the season. We got to hit a timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we keep on rolling. We got more to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about that Oklahoma game. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up this tape, and we can probably see both of those things. A little bit of Oklahoma and what Tia was asking about in that app message about the pre-snap adjustments and all that good stuff. When we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their.
No wonder why Ty's feet are out there looking crazy. He's processing a ton of information in a short period of time. Yeah, but the interesting thing was he was handling it fine early in the year. That's what I'm saying. I think sometimes, man, like when things stop working as well, people start going, oh, well, this and this is a problem. But like I'm telling you, did anybody make comments about us doing all those pre-snap adjustments before he started struggling? No, it was actually the opposite. Go back and listen. I wasn't the only person. Everybody was talking about it. Man, he's checking like Tom Brady out there. Man, he's one of the only quarterbacks in college football that can do this. Now, maybe the mounted pressure ended up kind of being a little too much down the stretch, maybe. But I would argue, I mean, for the first half of the year, all those checks and all that, I mean, there was no effect. I mean, it was, if anything, everybody was bragging about it and how impressive it was. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with Coach Saban per se, but because part of what he's saying is true. Like the defenses also do have that ability too. Meaning, so like, yes, we check, we get into something different. And if the defenses can, they're prepared enough to be able to make quick adjustments, like, because you got to remember too, as a defense, everything is like reactionary. So like we're reacting to the offense. So like it's not as simple as, oh, we saw them check. Now, like the defense, we also have to be able to see what they're lining up in. And so think about this. When that 15-second hits, and you're not talking with the defensive coordinator anymore. So in between 15 seconds and 0 seconds, if Alabama's offense gets into a whole different formation, if you don't have rules within whatever you called on defense, guys are going to be scrambling because you got to remember everything is predicated off what the offense is doing. Like that's the advantage that the offense has. The offense, everybody knows what the hell they're doing. Like they're calling it. Defense, our job is to react and respond. So within that, once that communication shut off, that defense has to already know. Do you get what I'm saying? So like basically what I'm getting at is if Alabama waits until like the 15 and I'm curious. I actually want to see this something real quick. Because if they shift or trade after the 15-second hits, as a defense, I'm almost wondering, like you have to say like if they do this or whatever, and there's always rules within calls too. Let me I'm trying to find the Oklahoma. I have our defense versus Oklahoma. I want our offense. I can pull up a different game if I need to. But now I'm curious about that, though. Like the timing of when we do get to these shifts and trades. But the problem is I'm not going to be able to see the clock. I guess we'd probably have to. Well, no, we're not going to be able to time it either. How could we do that? Damn, I feel like I'm going to do like some damn school project or experiment. I can't speak today, guys. Oh, God. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Some, I guess, potentially breaking news. It's breaking to me, at least. Reed just shared it with us. It's an update on former Michigan head coach Sharon Moore. He has now been charged with home invasion in the third degree, stalking, and breaking and entering. Yes, this is breaking news. I see it 1 minute ago via Yahoo Sports. So, yeah, it's just a sad situation all around, man. Honestly, it's just very unfortunate. I mean, so many people affected in this, and it's unfortunate, man. Moore was detained by police in Salem, Michigan, hours after he was fired. So we knew that part, but it sounds like they've now officially charged him with these things. Now, I don't know what those charges entail in terms of sentencing, if he's proven guilty with that stuff. But I mean, this guy went from literally being the head coach of the University of Michigan. Somebody left a comment when I posted a clip of us talking about it. And I referenced Michigan as a reputable. Excuse me. What I meant by that, and maybe that's the wrong word to use, I meant like outside of all the controversy and stuff that they've had. I mean, the University of Michigan, and I saw I forgot who was talking about it. It might have been on ESPN or something, saying like, you got Penn State, but you'd argue that Michigan's probably even higher in terms of resources and stuff. Like, hell, the team just won a national championship like what, 2-3 years ago. And it's Michigan. That's what I meant. Not reputable in the sense that I understand their reputation is pretty bad at this point. Not just from the Connor Stallions thing, but I mean, they've had staffers charged with a number. I mean, they've had some bad stuff going on recently. I understand that, but I meant like the school and the history outside of what's been going on. Anyway, looks like even more negative news is coming out for that program.
Not to stay on this, but I was kind of curious just because you've gone through that whole recruiting process, and now I'm seeing all these Michigan commits request out of their like official signing and all this. How would just because like I said, you've been through this, how would that kind of affect you if you found out the school that you were going to, you heard this about your head coach? What would kind of be going through your head in that kind of just because I want to hear your kind of opinion on it.
Yeah, great question. I'm immediately trying to see what are the next steps. But first, I'm not going to lie. I read something, and if it's true, it would probably affect how my trust level with these coaches and this, like the people over at Michigan. And it's that allegedly, and I think Josh Pate might have said this again. If I'm, spreading false information, I'm just going off of what I read or heard. Allegedly, they had been investigating this and had at least an idea that this has been going on. Because I think the stalking part, to my knowledge, I thought like all this transpired just immediately after, which majority of it did. But allegedly, like the stalking part of it, I think may have been going on. And so I think Josh Pate made a comment that they knew about a lot of this and had planned on acting on it, but allegedly they were waiting until after signing day to move forward with it. And if that was the case, and if I'm a recruit, that would kill trust that I had with them, because that to me that's deception. That's saying, hey, you intentionally waited to take action on a very serious matter just so we would sign and you guys would still maintain the signing class, which, let's just be fair. I mean, I know it's a business. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it. I don't agree with it. I want to be clear. I don't agree with them doing that because it's not fair to the kids at all. But it makes sense on their part because they don't want it to – it's already going to be a dumpster fire. the last thing they want to do is lose all the guys in the recruiting class, all the guys they probably invested in. Think about it with NIL. So, I mean, I don't even like saying like it makes sense on their end, but I'm not surprised, I should say. I'm not surprised Michigan would do that if they did that. But to answer your question, Reed, if it was me, my trust would probably be out the window with all that going on. And I probably would be, trying to follow through with that as well and considering moving forward. However, if they came to me or they were very upfront, they were very transparent, they were honest and said, hey, this is the situation, this is how we're handling it, this is who we're targeting, I would definitely probably give them a chance, especially if it was a program that I really wanted to attend. I don't even want to use Alabama as an example because I don't want to, but just say like Georgia was my second school. We can use Georgia as an example. I really like Georgia, and say I didn't sign here and I plan on going to Georgia, and I really wanted to go play there, not just for the coach, but man, I loved the history there, and man, they're having success, and I felt confident about what they could do for me in my career and whatnot. And something like that happened, I mean, if I really wanted to play for that program, I definitely would hear them out. But if it was something where it was like, man, I wanted to go there for a coach, the perspective of playing with some of these other guys, whatever the case may be, I'm probably gonna look elsewhere, which I'm sure most of these guys probably are, because it's getting messy at this point. And let's face it, a lot of the times, man, guys go to school, they choose schools for coaches. They tell you not to do that. They always tell you in recruiting, do not make a decision based on a coach, but make it based on the school, because you never know what can happen with coaches. You look at if a guy committed to Ole Miss to play for Lane Kiffin, boom, he's into LSU now. If a guy committed to play for whoever, Hugh Freeze at Auburn, he got fired midseason. You know what I mean? Like things are going to happen. So they always tell you don't do that, but the reality is most guys do. But that's why you have to like for example, like I committed to Alabama because not only Coach Saban, but also like the history here. I felt Coach Cochran could develop me in terms of, physically, definitely, mentally as well, but physically help me get bigger, stronger. I wanted to be like that type of guy. And sure enough, that's what happened. By the time I left here, I mean, I was a much different player than I came in as. But yeah, you just got to be careful going. And I don't know. I mean, Michigan is interesting. I don't know if these guys are big fans of his, or it's just, hey, it's Michigan. They got a lot of NIL money. It's interesting. But I guess it depends on the player. But good question. Definitely a bad situation going on there. So we'll stay up to date with that. But first, we got to hit this top of the hour timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. I'm going to get this tape pulled up because I really want to follow up on Tia's whole deal about the checking. And we can actually watch it in real time. See how the defense responds, and if we do have a true advantage, we'll pull up the tape like we always do, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick time out. We'll be right back.
WTBC Tuscaloosa.
I mean, I'm convinced. I think people make videos just to get clicks. I mean, I can't blame them because, I mean, hell, I mean, I get it when you're doing media, but this guy says he's convinced it's going to be Kalen DeBoer. Now, I know we had the thumbnail a little clickbaity yesterday, but listen, it was, but it wasn't. Yes, I'm sure Kalen DeBoer is one of their top candidates or choices if they could pick anybody. Like that we can all agree on that. That was kind of the clickbait part of my, I guess, video yesterday. But that's true though. I mean, they on their end he is. It's not reciprocated though. But anyway, let's hear what this guy says.
The Michigan Wolverines are about to steal somebody's head football coach, and I believe it is one of three names. The first one, Kalen DeBoer. My people have told me, the people that told me about Deion to Colorado and other coaching jobs, and have not been wrong. And I know that people are like, why would you leave Alabama to go to Michigan? Because Kalen DeBoer reports, and my sources are telling me, he was living on borrowed time. That Alabama, if they had lost the Iron Bowl versus Auburn, we're going to be parting ways with Kalen DeBoer.
Hold on, we got to save this for radio. We got to save this for radio. That's kind of, I mean, that's some bold claims he's making.
Had they not gotten in the college football playoff, there would have been some discussions about parting ways.
All right, so sorry, stream. We're saving that for radio because we can't just let that slide. Who is this guy, by the way? Let's hold on. We got to look at his profile real quick. L.A. college football analyst, but like with who? The Unafraid show. Have y'all seen this guy before? I mean, no, and I'm not trying to be fun. I'm not trying to play him. I'm genuinely asking. I mean, I don't want to give it too much attention if it's like a fan type podcast. No disrespect in any means. You get what I'm saying? I want to be careful, like spreading. I mean, I don't want to be saying like, oh, this guy's saying this. If it's like just like a Michigan fan that just has a. I don't think that's the case, but I don't know him. It says he's a Heisman voter, though, guys. Wait, he's an Oregon alumni. Huh. Is he really a Heisman voter? Huh. I promise I wasn't trying to be like funny or like spiteful. Like, oh, I don't know this guy. I'm just really asking because I mean he's got 60,000 followers. I guess he was talking to the board of Penn State too. I mean we'll still play it just because I mean this give us something to talk about. But interesting, man. I mean I definitely call a cap on it, but we'll talk about it.
Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with
Trying to get us
Christian
fixed
Miller
up to get him some Christmas money.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And we're back. Free for all Friday edition of this Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right. Let's again, it's free for all Friday. So if you're wondering why we're jumping all around and hitting a bunch of numbers, that's what a free for all Friday is, man. We're just hanging out. We'll dive into a little bit of this Oklahoma conversation here in a minute as well. I was trying to get this. I really wanted to get this tape pulled up. We're going to have to find a different game instead of the Oklahoma one, unfortunately, because I don't have the Alabama offense versus Oklahoma, but I'm convinced now to see if we can find the whole deal with Ty Simpson and the checks, right? I want to do some investigating real quick, man. I feel like putting my investigative hat on and trying to figure out we can find some more stuff out. In the meantime, though, while I pull some of that up, hey Reed, you said we had one more app message to hit real quick. Is there any way you can read that for us, and we'll kick off hour number 2 with that?
Of course, yeah. It's from Pop and Lynette. It says, counting the quarterbacks Bama has just signed, I believe Alabama will have potentially 5 quarterbacks on next season's team. Do you think their decision to all stay depends on Ty's decision to stay or not? That's Pop from Lynette.
Let's talk about it. That was another thing I wanted to hit at some point, and I'm glad he brought up. Thanks, Pop. Here, I'll say this. I have the itch that Ty Simpson's coming back. I really do. I feel like Ty Simpson's probably going to end up coming back to school. I know we talked about it, and a lot of NFL, scouts and people. I mean, a lot of the draft experts talking about Ty maybe being a potential number 1, and that was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. But you guys got to remember, things are fluid, right? I'm not saying they change that quick. I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't play great, and then they still get picked in a good spot. But one of Ty's biggest, I don't want to use the word knock, I feel like it's very strong in this context, but I would say one of his biggest, I guess, flaws and from a draft perspective was always going to be for this year, the lack of experience. It comes up with any quarterback that has very limited experience. That's one of the major things that they always bring up. Hey, this guy, he's only started X amount of games. Is he ready to make that next step to the National Football League? Does that mean people would, just run away from drafting him? Heck no. But that typically is viewed as a negative. And at the end of the day, what these teams and draft personnel do is exactly what Coach Saban has always said. They're looking for the butts, right? And I'm not talking about the rear end here. I'm talking about the BUT. Hey, he's a great player, but he can get after the quarterback. He can rush the passer, but he doesn't set the edge great. Oh man, he has a great deep ball, but he's has bad feet in the pocket and he doesn't make good decisions. So they're always looking for the butts, and that's always going to be one thing with Ty. I think the way he was playing through the middle part of the season was allowing people to kind of say, hey, man, hey, he's got limited experience, but look at this guy. Speaking of the checks, hey, this guy's got command of this offense. He's up there. He's making NFL-type checks. He's making NFL-type throws. He's hitting those cover 2 hole shots. He's attacking the deep part of the field better than any quarterback in the country. Now, the last 5 weeks or last 5 games, we've seen him. I haven't seen that same Ty Simpson. That's not to say they don't have confidence that he can be another the next. I'm not going to say the next great quarter, but another good NFL draft prospect, good NFL quarterback. No, but what that started signaling was, maybe this guy ain't as ready as we initially thought he was. And what follows that is, we think he should probably return to school for another year. People have started to say it, and you're going to continue to hear these people say it. That's kind of how this thing works. That said, I had said from the jump, if Ty needed to come back to school, I don't think that ever would have been a problem in his mind. And I still don't think I still don't think it's a problem. If anything, he gives me the impression of a guy that would want to come back to school. I could totally see him saying, we have unfinished business. We want to compete for national championships. And when I came to Alabama, I came here to compete for championships, and I don't want to leave without – I can totally see that being the deal, and then him coming back to school. Now, say we win in that – say he gets into this playoff, and he makes a run, and he's playing his ass off, and he returns to form, and we go win us a natty. I would not be shocked if he goes, all right, probably going to consider leaving. Because I think right now they have him as like QB 3, 4, depending on what board or who you ask, what expert. But obviously, if he goes and plays in the playoffs against good teams, right? I mean, Oklahoma, really good defense. Say he balls out in that game. You then go on to play Indiana, who's got another really good defense. Say he balls out there. And like I said, enough to where he feels content with his career here, then I could see him leaving. If not, which again, I'm not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I mean, that's like a perfect world. Like, we haven't seen that type of play in 5 or 6 games, it feels like. So I think that's a little bit of a long shot. That's why I'm starting to feel he does come back. Back to the question of Pop. We signed 2 quarterbacks this class. We've got 3 scholarships right now with Ty, Austin Mack, and Keelan. So that's where he's getting the number 5 from. I think if one of the quarterbacks were to leave, so let's say Ty comes back. If I had to choose one that would leave, I would probably lean Austin Mack. I know that's Grubbin and DeBoer's guy. He came from Washington, but you have to think about it this way. He's on a time crunch. He's got a play clock going, right? Because this is his 3rd year currently. When he comes back next year, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is his 3rd season of college football because he was young. He left early. Next year would be a 4th year. So he would be risking, and not necessarily risking. Typically, if a 5th-year senior comes back to school, I mean, I'm pretty sure the writing's on the wall. It's not like they're just going to have a quarterback battle. He could end up being elevated if that guy that comes back does not play well, which we see that all the time. But it's not like, hey, Ty comes back, oh, we're back in an active quarterback battle. They might try to make it seem like that, but normally that guy is understood to be like the guy. It's like his job to lose, pretty much. So personally, if I had to pick one of those guys, I would probably assume it would be him. I think regardless, you end up with 4 scholarship quarterbacks next season. I don't see all 5 being there, and I could be wrong. I just personally don't see that. I think Keelan Russell would hang around, though. I mean, you got to think he's still young. Does he qualify for a red shirt? Reed, do you know that answer? I feel like he's still within the limits. I don't think he played in enough games because then the playoffs don't count if the rules are still the same.
I don't exactly know, but yeah, I think you have to play in less than, I believe it's like 4 or 5 games.
You get up to 4 games, and I think the playoffs they don't matter. So let's just think about. I mean, so he didn't play in Florida State. He played in. Wait, Drew says yes, so that means he is redshirt eligible. Oh yeah, if which I'm pretty sure they anticipated redshirting him. That would, if they did it, that would have been, I hate to say it, would have been dumb. He only played in 2. Yeah, I was about to say I couldn't even count 3, so I was like, there's no way so he's redshirt eligible. I think he would be okay staying and waiting, because I think what would happen. Yeah, thank you guys. All right, perfect. Personally, I think if one were to leave, it would be Mac, only because, like I mentioned, the time crunch. So I'll be honest with you, and this might be contrary to what most people are kind of thinking, but if like, and some people are like, oh no, we want to be ready to take on Keelan. I wouldn't be mad if Ty came back at all, because I look at it like this: if you can secure that Keelan's confident that him staying here is the right move and all that stuff, I would not be mad at that at all, because then you have a veteran quarterback coming back who has shown what he can do. I know people are like, oh, but he can't throw the deep ball. If Ty comes back, he's going to be a much better, more consistent football player going into next year. You can stamp that. I mean, I don't see a world where he regresses going into another year of him coming. I just don't. Not saying it can't happen, but I just don't think that happens. And if you ask me, what would you rather have? As talented as Keelan is, I know development is important. And I've seen all these guys like in person, a lot. As talented as Keelan is, even if you try to throw him out there right now, I know you guys have seen him and you're like, man, but look what he did. You got to remember who he was going against, man. Like, if you put him in some of these, big moments right now, he's in terms of development, and as talented as he is, he's not quite there just yet. He can make throws and stuff, but we're talking about decision making, and you're talking about being able to understand like what defense are doing and all that. I mean, it's a lot. And if I'm just being honest with you right now, I mean, on a practice level, you get all those great throws, but then you also see some rookie mistakes, freshman mistakes that lead to a number of turnovers, right? Which is normal, totally expected. So that's the whole dilemma that you've got. I think regardless, you're going to be okay. You know what I mean? Whether it's Ty that comes back, whether it's Keelan, who I think is going to be in a much better position going into next year, given the experience that he's gained. And if Austin Mack's here, I like him too. I think he's on it. In that last game where they all played, I thought he honestly probably played the best at all 3. I just don't think you can, I don't know, unless he's just one of those guys where he's like, man, I'll risk sitting here one more year than knowing my last year of eligibility I'll compete. But then he's also in the back of his head going to know, well, Keelan's still here, so I got to compete with him. It's not guaranteed. That's why I would lean towards Austin Mack maybe going elsewhere. But I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Reed, I mean, what do you think first before we hit this timeout? Then we'll go to the people when we come back. Do you see us having all 5 quarterbacks next year? Do you see Ty coming back? Do you see him leaving? Who do you think? How do you think it plays out, Reed, in your mind?
Well, Christian, I think you pretty much took all the words out of my mouth. I think I was going to say, I think early on in the season, I was like, hey, if Ty keeps trending the way he is, he's going to go to the NFL draft. Not to say that he's fell into a deep slump, but, it's I feel like part of it is the inexperience of the starting, and that is going to, like you pointed out, and it's something I specifically remember is Coach Saban. You mentioned it before. It's that but, he's doing this good, but there's the inexperience, and so I think he will come back. Like I said earlier in the season, I didn't think so, but I think he will. And I think, once again, like you mentioned, the time crunch for Austin Mack is going to force him to go elsewhere. And because he's going to want, I at least feel like he's going to want to be the starter somewhere and up his stock, because I'd kind of be concerned if he did come back, like stay, and it's like, all right, I've got 1 year, and what if just say that 1 year wasn't his best performance? You're out of eligibility then, so yeah, it'd give you more options, I feel like.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has another year than I thought. For some reason, I was thinking, is he a true sophomore or is he a redshirt sophomore? I guess wouldn't really. Wait, would that even matter at this point? Regardless of what. Wait, so right now, how many years does he have left? I guess is the question. Austin Mack, does he have 2 years of eligibility left? I think that's right. So he has 2 years of eligibility left. I think that's the main question. With 2 years of eligibility left, if he stays, then that would put him. If he doesn't win, then he's got 1 last year. I mean, I could see a world like, listen, I think he's got 2 years left. I don't know. I just know too, man. Think about all the teams going that will be calling his name too. Now that they've seen him get some action, right? In several games this year, I mean, as recent as Illinois game, and he looked smooth. And you're telling me a team that needs a quarterback is not going to be willing to call the guy that's 6'6", 235 pounds, that has nice, can throw the ball nicely. He scrambled in Eastern Illinois, displaying that athleticism that some people weren't really, aware that he had. He's going to get some calls. So, I don't know. Interesting, man. I'm curious y'all's thoughts. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Interesting video we found on Twitter. We got to get to this. Could Kalen DeBoer be in a Michigan, I guess, hoodie at some point? According to this guy in this video, he thinks it's a good possibility. I'm not buying it, but I'll let you guys listen and come up with your own conclusions when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. I think you nailed it. Ty comes back. Austin transfers. That's kind of where I don't know. That's just kind of that's what I think. I'm curious what you guys think, though. DeBoer to Michigan after the Oklahoma game. Nah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Let's see if we got some love on the likes. I pinned that and we had like 8 people leave. It's so interesting, man. Not much, man. Hey, you tried Superfly. You tried. If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button, man. That always helps us out. It takes 2 seconds, man. Let's try to get to, we're at what, 29? Let's set a goal. Let's try to get to 40 for today. Let's set a goal at 40. See if we can get up to 40 likes real quick. Seems like the most logical. Yeah, that I agree in terms of how that plays out. But who knows? I mean, look, there's some guys that are outliers, man. There's some guys that they're like, hey, I'll be patient. I'll wait until I have like one last year because I'm developing behind this. I just know, listen, if NIL wasn't a thing, it would be a lot different. But I'm just telling you, even as much as, how do I put it? Like, even as much as like I was patient and okay with waiting and saying like, hey man, I want to earn my keep here. I want to earn my stripes. And I'm so glad I did, right? Like it paid off for me, even though I knew because I was here 5 years. I earned a starting job, my redshirt junior year, but I was patient because I was like, all right, I'm developing. Like a redshirt in my first year, I knew that was going to happen. My redshirt freshman year, I played a little bit of special teams. We won a national championship. I had literally dudes in front of me. So I'm playing the patient game. I get it. My redshirt sophomore year, I was getting reps during the spring because we had Tim was banged up, Ryan was banged up. I was getting reps with the ones, getting a good look there, knowing that those are going to be our 2 guys, but I'm going to get a lot of opportunities, and I did. I had 3 sacks that year in limited time, but I got to keep playing behind some good players, rotating in there, getting opportunities. So I was okay with that. And then my 4th year, I earned the starting job. I got hurt, come back, win a national championship. Then my senior year was my put it all together year, best year, 9.5, 10 sacks, and everything was great. However, even with that kind of philosophy and mature mindset of, hey, I'm going to play the patient game. Listen, if NIL was a thing, listen, I'm very financial savvy kind of guy. If somebody's dangling $500K to go play for another big program, it would be hard for me not to even consider it. As much as I love Alabama, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't even consider it, knowing me, I'm not buying jewelry or cars or, man, I'm taking that $500K and I'm going and investing, brother. I'm flipping that. I'm not gonna say easy, but that's how I think. I'm gonna say hey, that's like getting a signing bonus from the NFL itself. I go put that money away 5-10 years down the road. I'm looking at probably about 7 figures. Hopefully, if I invest right, diversify, get just a couple dividend stocks, put in some growth stocks, I'll be straight. Question: would you fire the board if you lost the Auburn game?
60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
No, me. If you're asking me, no, I would not do that. Those are just the people I hate watching. Nah, I don't think so. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got a question from Pop on from the app inbox, man, and he asked about the quarterback situation. Do we feel like we'll have all 5 quarterbacks on the roster in 2026? We talked a little bit about 2026 with the new schedule. Again, that was released yesterday. I'll put it back on the screen if you guys haven't seen it here in a second. But I want to read y'all's responses to that because that was another question that I had in terms of the whole quarterback deal. Do you guys think Ty comes back? Do you think he should come back? And what happens if he does come back? So thanks, Pop, for getting that conversation started. Let's see what you guys had to say about that. Jake says the only reason Ty should come back is to improve his draft stock. The only problem is that his draft stock isn't going to be higher next year. He's quarterback 3, depending on where you look. He'll be there next year. Let's pull up. So Jake thinks he should leave. Let's pull up a draft board real quick. I think CBS already has, their top prospects and stuff. So let's pull up this and see where he's at in the most recent ones. I like going off CBS. If you guys have another one that you think would be better, maybe let me know. But let's pull up quarterback. So for quarterback, CBS has Ty as. Why is it not letting me do that? Wait, maybe I need to click no on that first. Nope, not working. I'll just share it with you. All right, so we can just manually do it. So the first quarterback I see on the top board, they still have Ty Simpson as the number 1 quarterback. They've got him as the number 12 prospect. I just was watching something that said they had him as like quarterback 3, I think behind who do they have him behind? I think it was Oregon's quarterback. Who was it? Was it Mendoza? I think it was Mendoza, Oregon's quarterback. I don't know. Who else was it, guys? Do you guys know? I don't know. CBS has him as – this is my thing because I didn't really answer this question. I think it would benefit – like, should Ty come back? Let me respond to my own question real quick because I don't think I hit this. Should Ty come back? I think it would benefit him from a developmental standpoint. I just know the transition to the NFL, especially as a quarterback. No, I did not play quarterback, but I've witnessed it. I know quarterbacks that made – it's not an easy transition. And depending on your situation, the organization you end up with, where you're drafted at and what those expectations are. I mean, like, it can go a number of different ways. And I just feel like personally he could benefit from another year of college football. Because, again, this is his first year fully starting. And one of his biggest flaws, and I brought this up back 2 years ago when he was competing with Milroe for the first time. Ty can kind of get in his head and then, the whole snowball effect and, it can kind of just lead to more negative plays, right? One play can lead to more negative plays. That said, you can't have that mentality in the NFL, especially, brother, when you're playing against NFL defenses. I mean, you think Oklahoma and Georgia are good defenses. I mean, you got 32 of those guys, maybe 30, 31, because sometimes you just got a bad team. You got like 30 of those. You know what I mean? You're talking about guys, I mean, elite play recognition, elite disguise, pre-snap, post-snap, guys jumping. I mean, like, go back. I mean, Bryce, I know Bryce didn't have much help, but just remember Bryce playing good football now, but he's going on, year 3, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's an adjustment. So I don't think it would hurt him to come back. Now, if he ends up being, which I don't think this is accurate, they've got Ty still as the number 1 quarterback. Then I see Dante Moore right behind him. Oh, no. Guys, I'm not even paying attention. They got him as a 2. Sorry. Thank you. Somebody in the chat said that. They got Mendoza. How did I not see that? Mendoza as 1, but they still have Ty 2. And this is according to CBS, who I feel like is, one of the more reputable draft, I guess, sites or information. You get what I'm saying.
Do you see Mendoza as, like, in your eyes, as a viable NFL quarterback to take that number 1 overall pick spot?
Listen, to answer your question, Reed, I mean, he's a good quarterback. I watched him play Ohio State, man. He had himself some throws. He's a very odd guy in his interviews, but there's no denying the talent, man. He can play some football. Do I think it's, we're taking it that 1 spot? I mean, I always go off of what team needs. Who's got as of now, who do they have as the number 1 pick? Do you know? Is it New York? Is it the Jets? No? Wait, who would have the number 1? I don't even know who is slated to have the number. I'll be honest. I haven't paid much attention to the draft stuff.
Yeah, Christian, right now it's the Giants with the first overall pick,
Giants.
but then right behind them is the Raiders, which, me being a Raiders fan, I know we need a quarterback.
Well, you got Jackson.
You also see the Jets climb up there as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know the Jets have been talking about taking a quarterback for sure. So I'll say this. I mean, I think Mendoza, listen, if I'm somebody looking at him like from a scout perspective, I mean, He's got the measurables. He's 6'5". He's 225. I mean, he led his team to being the number 1 seed into playoffs this season. I mean, the play from behind game that he had early on in the year, that drive. I mean, the guy has shown qualities that you look for in a quarterback in terms of some of those intangibles. I mean, he's clearly a very smart guy. Just listening to him in his interviews, I mean, he's a little interesting, but to me, he kind of reminds me like that, like Andrew Luck kind of vibe, maybe. More saying like from like an intellectual standpoint, but no, I think he would be worth the top pick for sure. I've always said this though. I mean, with quarterbacks, at the end of the day, you'll see 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. How many actually end up panning out to being the quarterbacks that like when they're coming out, everybody talks about, oh, he's the next Tom Brady, he's the next Drew Brees, he's the next Patrick Mahomes, he's the next Josh Allen. And majority of the time, it doesn't really. Just because, I mean, listen, the NFL is hard. I don't think people understand. Like, you're talking about the elite of the elite, and there's only so many, so many spots. That said, yeah, no, I think Mendoza's a really good quarterback. Ty's good. I feel like this quarterback class right now might be a little. I mean, that's something Ty should probably consider too, because I would argue I think next year's quarterback class is supposed to be a little deeper. Am I right on that? Is that?
Yeah, no, you're right, because this class is, in my opinion, one of the weakest we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Next year you'll have Arch, you'll have Gunner if he goes out.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have, let's see, you'll have Sayin, you'll have a plethora of other guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at this right here. I mean, you got Mendoza, Simpson, Dante Moore, Josh Hoover, and John Mateer. Which, I mean, if John Mateer is
I think he stays for another year.
Yeah, I was about to, but my point, Jackson, is if he's your 5th ranked quarterback right now, and I think he's a good player. However, the way he's playing right now, you're telling me they have him as the 5th ranked quarterback. It might be best. I mean, maybe I'll just answer my own question. I mean, maybe Ty should consider leaving, because this is one of those quarterback classes where, I mean, like, even though he's kind of going through a slump, look at the rest of the group. I mean, I would probably right now have it Mendoza, Dante Moore than Ty, which I think other people have like that. That's kind of what I think. I guess a lot of other people probably viewing it as. I
would
know.
Agree.
Yeah, I just think right now. Brian over on Facebook says he should go to the NFL. Milroe came back and it didn't help his stock and limited Ty in development. I mean, it's going to be interesting. He's definitely going to have a interesting decision. It's like, on one hand, come back to school, develop more. I think it'd be I think Ty will benefit if he does come back, and I don't think it would. I think it would probably be good for this football team and to have a seasoned quarterback. That's just my opinion. But I think from a personal standpoint, he's got to come up with that decision. Especially looking at the quarterback class, it might be the right move, man. He can just sit back and especially if he goes in. I don't think he needs to go in a position where they need him like to be that guy right now. The problem is when you're the 2nd or 3rd quarterback taken, you're kind of, especially the 1st round quarterback most of the time. I just think it would help him to have a year or so to develop once he gets to the NFL. Personally, just because he had such limited experience in college, I don't think that would be ideal. But who knows? Let's do this. Let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep rolling. I know we've got that clip to play and a couple other things we want to dive into. So we'll do that after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge. Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Sure. Next year, you've got Manning, Sellers saying, oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, he definitely would hold his own another year under his belt too. He would hold his own, but I mean, you look at Sellers and the type of quarterback he is, that's going to draw some attention. You already know they're going to start throwing out the Jaden Daniels, even some of the Lamar comparison, just because of the athletic ability. But he can spin the ball too. Saying kind of reminds me of like that Mac Jones type, very, very consistent, really high completed. I cannot speak. Completion percentage. And then Arch, we all know, the potential there and the hype around that. But, I mean, I think Ty coming back, he definitely hold his own. But looking at this class, yeah, without a doubt, this class is a lot weaker than the one next season. All right, man, we're starting to get those likes up. Goal is to hit 40, man. We got 58 in here, so we can do it. We got 35 right now. If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button real quick if you guys don't mind. Oh, it's just you, Jackson. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I'll play it on here. It's this guy saying that he's convinced that Kalen DeBoer's going to Michigan, and then Tia tagged us in another one where he was convinced that Kalen DeBoer is going to Penn State. So it's honestly probably cap, but he was making it seem like, hey, the guy that told me that Dion was going to Colorado. Yeah, he convinced himself into fake news. That's what it seems like, man. Rams will draft Ty. He'll sit behind Stafford to me, I think, man, if Ty could land in a situation like that where there's a already quarterback, at least even if it's just for 1 year, man, where he doesn't have the pressure of trying to, be that guy immediately. I think just with the type of player he is, I think it would be really good for his development, because majority of the time it's always better for the development of a quarterback to not be thrown in the fire like that. Because you guys remember, I mean, when you get drafted high, that means you go to a bad team. So that's why I was worried about Bryce going to Carolina. But, thank God Dan Morgan took over as general manager, has done a good job getting him weapons. That receiver they drafted from Arizona is a good player. I know they try to get, Leggett. They spent first-round picks back-to-back years, I believe, or at least, over the last couple of years, getting first-rounders at receiver, investing in the offensive line. All that stuff is important, Like, to me, I would be a little worried to have Ty go to a team like the Jets or something like that. That would be, I don't know. They didn't draft a quarterback this past cycle because they like Stetson. Oh, yeah, I forgot they have Stetson guys. I give up on talking today. Let me just play this clip. G-Bam, what's up, man? Pavia should win the Heisman, in your opinion. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the Heisman finalists. You think he wins it, man? I don't think he does. I mean, what he's done has been impressive, though. I mean, especially talking about a guy just to come out of nowhere, right? Ending up at Vanderbilt, transferring there. I mean, it's definitely been impressive. But dang, Jackson agrees too.
.com. This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's arch support experts. That's another good point. Thanks to G-Bama, man. I forgot we didn't mention this, the Heisman finalists. It's a free-for-all Friday. When I say free-for-all, we literally are like free-falling from topic to topic. We also got Smitty on the phone line. So while I pull some of that up, let's go to Smitty. Let's get him on here. 205-342-9904. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, Christian?
Man, I can't complain, bro. It's a Friday, man. How are you?
I'm a Bucks fan. That's all I got to say.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You're an Alabama fan, a Bucks fan, but you live in Arizona. Smitty, what we got going on here, brother?
Man, I was born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama, and I joined the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's Tampa Bay coming in from?
Oh, when I was a kid, right? I'm aging myself here. Your dad knows about this game, Tecmo Super Bowl. Plus one of those earlier Maddens. I said, I'm going to play with the sorriest team and make the Super Bowl. And I picked the Bucks. They were horrible. Your dad would tell you how horrible they were. So I got to know some of the players, and I became attached. But again, who else am I supposed to pull for? The Atlanta Falcons?
They just beat you last night.
Or what about this? Or I mean, like the Saints. I mean, I feel like a lot of folks from Alabama are Saints fans. They've won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees.
Yeah, they stunk then too. But you know, it's just like, hey, I grew up a Bulls fan because we had WGN. It was either the Bulls or Michael Jordan, the Bulls or the Atlanta Hawks. That was not a terrible. It's not a hard choice. We're a national embarrassment now, but but hey, you gotta stick with it, you know.
That's true.
But when you're talking about like Ty, right? Here's the thing I think people miss. You don't really up your stock. You could hurt your stock. And I got a couple of names for you. Matt Barkley was going to be a first-round pick. Stayed in school, talking about winning the championship. He was a fifth-round pick. I don't even think he's in the NFL now. He was a journeyman. Garrett Nussmeier was supposed to be, at worst, a day 2 pick. Stayed in school. Where he going to get drafted at? So I think if you're a second-round pick, you get the heck up out of there. And what people don't get also is, will Caleb DeBoer just give him the job or say, hey, it's open because what are these other guys improved so much? That's another sticky point also. But if Ty comes back, I think Austin Mack has to go because he only has so much time left.
Right. Yeah, and I looked at it. So 2 years remaining. He's got. I can't remember if he's a true sophomore, redshirt, doesn't matter. He's got 2 years remaining. Yeah. That's what I thought. So he's got 2 years remaining. That's just, to me, that just makes sense. I mean, it's unfortunate because I mean, I think he's a damn good player. You know, like he's definitely grown on me. The reason I say grown on me because at first, like when I used to go out and watch practice, like he was definitely a little inconsistent. You know, you see some dirt balls, but then you see a great ball, and it just kind of was a little over the place. But I mean, he's developed really nicely. And I think seeing him over the last few weeks or especially Eastern Illinois' most recent game, I thought he played the best out of all three. And I can only imagine, man, hey, you got a guy like that with 2 more years of eligibility. I think he could end up being a really good football player. But it's like you got so many different routes you can go. It's tough. I guess that's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, and the reason that I say Ty should go because he has a flaw. And staying in school ain't going to fix this. He's always been a little jittery in the pocket. Because I always go back to Mercer. There was no pressure. He's just jittery. And to me, there are certain things where you are or you aren't. And I think that if you're jittery in the pocket, if your emotions, if you carry that on your sleeve, because as a quarterback, you're the leader of the team. And I remember Nick Saban always say, don't get too high, don't get too low. And you see that. And the best example I can use is Bryce Young. That his first year at Alabama, he didn't have a good offensive line. He didn't have, like, the ride-outs. He didn't have this great offensive line because I think Damian George gave him another sack on the right side against Auburn. But if you look at his face, you wouldn't know if he was stressed out. And I believe that you are the leader of the team as a quarterback. In the NFL, you are the face of the company. You are the CEO. And I think that, I don't know if you guys see a sports psychiatrist, but I just think that you can't have that because if you're emotional like that, it's going to translate in your play. And I don't know how you can fix that, but I just believe, and I'm not knocking him as a person. I'm just saying maybe he is what he is with that trait, Well,
I mean, I think you can always try to improve on things. I think he could work. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people that, and actually sports psychologists and having like those guys around, like Dr. Brett McCabe is the guy that our university works closely with, not just with football, with all sports. He does a phenomenal job, by the way. He works a lot of, golfers, but he also spends a lot of time with our athletes. And, I think you could definitely, work on some of that stuff. But I do feel like, Ty's kind of always been a little bit more like Bryce Young had the luxury of having a dad who's like a psychologist / psychiatrist. I can't remember what his role is, but I mean, Bryce's dad was that. So, I mean, he literally is going to be about smooth as butter in terms of being able to handle big moments and, staying in the moment and stuff like that. But, I hear what you're saying. I mean, listen, I still think him coming back. I know you're right. It is a risk. I mean, and you gave some great examples. You're not wrong. I just view him as like knowing who Ty is and his work ethic and how he attacks things. Like I think he would see a benefit if he decided to come back. So I do think it would probably work out. There would be a better chance it would work out in the positive manner than the negative for him. But you're right. You never know though. I also think of
Yeah.
it like this after seeing we just looked at that list of quarterbacks. I think sometimes you got to strike while the iron's hot. And I know his iron hadn't been very hot the last few games, but looking at the quarterback group for this year compared to next year, that's something to consider too. And if you're hearing people say, hey, yeah, you know, he had a little bit of a slump towards the end of the year, but we still got him as quarterback 2 or even 3, and he's projected to be even a mid first round pick. I feel like that's your sign to go personally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
You know
it's a little
one
bit.
thing also?
Well, because think about this. I mean, if you're a mid round pick, I mean, yes, there is a big gap. I mean, you're talking about maybe, you know, if you're a top 5 pick, I mean, to like the mid rounds, I mean, that could be a gap of up to $8 to $10 million. But I mean, you're also risking if you do go from mid round to late second / early third, that's also a big jump too. So, and I hate to say this, but I would argue with the quarterback class the next year, the following year, I don't know how much room there is to move up into being like a top 5 pick with the guys we're looking at on that list. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing about this Kalen DeBoer stuff, right? First things first, I feel sorry for Sharon Moore's wife and kids. You know, I feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him and the side chick. I really don't. Because ain't no mistakes, there's choices.
True.
And all he had to do was just take that butt chewing from the wife and get a hotel. He may be able to salvage his career. Now he's cooked. You know.
God.
But I'm sorry. Just go take your L. Now he can be working at Waffle House. But anyway,
Jesus.
But everybody talking. It's like first it was Penn State for Kalen DeBoer. Now it's Michigan. It's like these people. They sound like these people that carry a sign in the heat talking about the rapture is coming. That's what these people sound like. And you know, because the thing is, I give people like I know about George Reister, right? He's a player at Oregon, and all I ever hear is I ask people, why do you think he's going to leave? Oh, because of pressure, and he's from the Midwest. As someone who's been living in Phoenix since '06, that's my last place I was stationed at, and I got out and stuck around. There are more people who move from the North and the Midwest to the Southeast and the Southwest than vice versa. I've yet to meet someone from Phoenix saying, yeah, man, I'm going to move to Detroit. No, it's Detroit moving here. You know? And people get adjusted very quickly because they say pressure. Every big boy job has pressure. If you don't want pressure, why are you a head coach? There's pressure and all this stuff. And mind you, this is the same Michigan a couple years ago made Jim Harbaugh take a pay cut or they were going to fire him on the spot. Yeah, they did that a couple of seasons ago. And Harbaugh took the pay cut, and he couldn't wait to leave. He stuck it to him. And, but that's what people understand. There is pressure everywhere. They were going to fire Ryan Day or Ohio State if he didn't win a national championship last year. They were that ticked off of losing to Michigan. That's pressure.
Right.
They were not going to fire Kalen DeBoer for losing to Auburn because that is not a healthy way to run your program or your coach. Yes, the fireball callers don't speak for us. The administration loves him. His athletic director is still there.
Right.
Why? And plus, you look online on Twitter, those Michigan commits are getting out of the commitments. You have to start over. Michigan, in my opinion, would be better off trying to get a younger coach, maybe a Tommy Reese or somebody like that, and build up. Because why give up 2 great recruiting classes? You got the support from Alabama money-wise. You got your GM who's locked in. Why give that up and go start over? And if you don't beat Ohio State, they'll can you anyway.
No, you make great points, and I agree 1,000%. Why everything you're saying is why I feel like he's not leaving probably anytime soon. Now, when I say anytime soon, could be a different scenario post year 3 or maybe year 4, maybe. But like right now is way too soon. Like for everything you just stated, that to me, the consistency, the security, and the stability that he has right now. Personally, I feel like you'd be a fool to leave and go give that up for something that is not so much. But I'll answer your question. Why do these people, act like the rapture coming? People that sit on the freeway like that. Well, I think what it is, Smitty, is he's a name that comes up because he's won where he's gone. He does it the right way. He's got a guy like Courtney Morgan in his corner. So, coming with him are other good resources as well. And I think people view it as, hey, well, if it doesn't work out at Alabama, meaning like, hey, well, they know Alabama fans and the I guess the heat that would come if it's not great. I think they anticipate, oh man, Alabama's probably going to be, quick to move on anyway. So they're just kind of like anticipating, like, oh, because I keep hearing the common theme is, well, if he lost the Iron Bowl, he would have left, or if he loses to Oklahoma, and I just don't see it like that, because I agree with Chris Lowe when he came on our show and we talked about it. You're talking about a guy that signed up to take over for Nick Saban. I mean, this would be considered prematurely leaving before it really even got started. I mean, he hadn't even had a full 3 years to really, get more of his guys, his potential, players that he thinks are a good fit for him in here and really develop those guys and get a chance going at really competing at their highest level possible with their system and culture. So I think it's way too soon, but we'll have to see, man. But I know you'll be busy tomorrow because you'll be like me, probably watching John Cena's final match, Smitty. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out, man. Hopefully it's not some. I hope I don't walk away disappointed, bro.
Hey, Christian, I'll say this: so anybody out there who don't watch WWE, there's a guy who's the next big thing gonna be on that show tomorrow night named Obafemi, former Alabama shot putter.
Yeah.
He's gonna be on there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, if you guys want to maybe get into WWE like me, Smitty, Chase, and others, man, tomorrow will be a good opportunity to get to see John Cena, who's known as the greatest of all time, wrestle his final match. But then, like Smitty just said, one of our very own, former Alabama shot putter. He goes by Obafemi is his wrestling name, but he's going to be special when it comes to the main event scene and for years to come, because he's only like 27 and he's cool as hell, man. His name's Isaac. And I knew Isaac when he was playing here, or when he was doing like track and field here. So it was really cool to see him doing his thing with WWE. Smitty, you have a great weekend, man, and hopefully we can
you too, good brother.
Top it up next week about Saturday night's main event.
Hey, no worries. I'll call you next week. Hey, you guys have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You too, bro. Good deal. All right, let's hit a quick timeout. We come back. We wrap things up on this free-for-all Friday right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Before we hit that timeout, don't forget about our friends over at R&R Cigars. Make sure you guys check them out if you're looking for a place to watch the games, the playoff games, basketball. You got that going on. Head on over to R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you guys go stop on by there. They've got the best humidor in the Southeast. They got over 160 bourbons that you can try. Plus, they now are using the Alabama liquor, so you can always try that there as well. Make sure you guys drink responsibly. And if you need to order something, go to their website, rnrcigars.com. Use that code Miller's Edge to get yourself a discount today. Again, that is code Miller's Edge right there for R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Oh, and a toy drive. It's Christmas season. They're doing a toy drive, so don't forget about that. Go drop off toys if you're able to during business hours over there. They would gladly appreciate it, man. They want to help out as many families as possible as well. So help out R&R Cigars as well. Quick timeout. Be right back. There's Dom. There's our likes patrol, man. Hey, we're doing good though. The goal was to hit 40. We're at 40. We're at 44, man. Appreciate you guys. You guys are killing it. Now maybe we can hit 50 before we get out of here. Shift the question from Ty to Bray Hubbard about coming back. Is that what you mean, Jake? I love WWE when it was WWF. They talk too much now. There are a lot of promos, man. It is definitely a little bit different now. I think I was probably a little too young for WWF. I don't think it was, because I started watching wrestling when I was probably like around like 5th grade or something, like elementary school. And that would have been around like 05, 06. I think it was already WWE at that point. Whoever said Ty Simpson's the first round pick needs to get a new pair of glasses. Well, Wayne, it looks like all the NFL personnel and company probably need to go get some new prescriptions, man. I mean, a lot of people have had him as a projected first rounder for weeks now. I know Wayne's just trolling. I know I'm just answering him just to humor myself. But no, I mean, listen, Ty has not been playing great football. But at the end of the day, the NFL draft isn't about drafting who's playing the best football at the moment. It's about potential. It's about what people think you can do to help their football teams out. And he's definitely, in this year's draft class, I mean, whether he's playing great right now or not, he's widely viewed as, a top 3 or 4 quarterback, which typically has you around that first round range. I mean, it can vary, but if you're normally, top 3 or 4 quarterback, that's typically a first round grade. There's always going to be at least at the minimum, at least 3 teams that need to take a quarterback, at least. Flipping the question to Bray, you said, let me think about that. Should Bray come back? Well, people always get mad when I was saying, like, when they compare him to Caleb Downs, and I always said, like, well, I know he's definitely putting up better numbers, but in terms of overall, like, pound for pound, like when people view them as, next to each other, Caleb Downs typically is going to get the nod. And I mean, you see it right here. I love Bray, and I think he's a damn good player. I think he's a little underrated. I think people overlook him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's really good too. That said, I mean, I would still probably have Bray as one of the top safeties, but I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to preface by saying I have not watched a whole bunch of the other safeties in this draft, but just knowing what I know about Bray, I think he's a really good football player. And I think he's going to make a great pro. I mean, he could play special teams. Special teams alone, Bray could play a decade in the NFL. I mean, without a doubt. And then you're talking about a guy who's, always, around the football, forcing turnovers. He's physical, pretty instinctive player. And he's going to have a good career. But looking right here, I don't even think they have Bray as a top 6 safety right now. I think if he can go out and test really well, which I don't know what his numbers are. I think that could have an impact. Welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hey, real quick, we only got a few minutes left. So Heisman Trophy top 10. I wanted to show you guys this really fast. We've been talking about Ty Simpson, man. You don't see his name on here, though. Interestingly enough, man, a guy who at one point, really about a month and, maybe 5 weeks ago, was being viewed as at least, I don't know if he ever got, I think at some point, it might have been 1 week he was a Heisman favorite, but we'll say he is at least, top 2, 3, whatever. He ended up not even finishing the top 10. So you talk about quite the regression, unfortunately, man. I mean, it is what it is. But you look at this list, Diego Pavia, a lot of you guys feel he ends up winning. It'll be interesting, man. Jeremiah Love is impressive, but I don't see him winning. I don't think, as good as he is, I don't think he's done enough to be, because remember, this is really like a quarterback award. I mean, if you're going to win it, not being a quarterback, I mean, you have to do something like, hell, Ashton Genty's numbers were insane and he didn't win it, right? So, but I do think, like, this year in college football, whether it's the quarterback class being a little weak, even like the Heisman finalists, it just kind of was one of those years. I mean, I'm looking at it, man. I feel like it ends up being Mendoza winning it, just because I always say this: when your team has success, there's a good chance. I mean, the individual success and accolades are definitely up as well. And with Indiana doing so, I know they beat Ohio State and their number 1 seed. I just personally think that's going to help give him a little bit of a push, because it's most valuable player, and people are going to say, oh, well, with Mendoza, that drive he had, and that's going to give him a lot of some boosts when it comes to that. But we'll see. If Pavia wins, that'd be interesting. I know you guys said you think he wins it, but you don't want him to. You don't want to see him in those commercials. Hey, I will say this: he's taking advantage of the platform that he has right now, and hey, he's probably able to maximize his profit from it and all that stuff. But Jacob Rodriguez, that linebacker is a dog, man. Damn good football player. You got Gunnar Stockton on here, Trinidad Chambers, Caleb Downs finished 9th, and Haynes King, but no Ty Simpson. So very interesting. Real quick, because I know we got about 2 minutes. I never got to that video from this guy. So I hate to end on this note, but this was what this guy claims is the deal when it comes to Kalen DeBoer in Michigan with the latest updates.
Michigan Wolverines are about to steal somebody's head football coach, and I believe it is one of three names. The first one, Kalen DeBoer. My people have told me, the people that told me about Deion to Colorado and other coaching jobs, and have not been wrong. And I know that people are like, why would you leave Alabama to go to Michigan? Because Kalen DeBoer reports, and my sources are telling me, he was living on borrowed time. That Alabama, if they had lost the Iron Bowl versus Auburn, we're going to be parting ways with Kalen DeBoer. Had they not gotten in the college football playoff, there would have been some discussions about parting ways. And the reason why you just don't fire Kalen DeBoer, especially when you know he has mutual interest in other places, is because of the buyout. Because then you can avoid it, and it just looks like he left and couldn't hack it at Alabama.
I'm calling cap. I'm calling cap on that.
He's smoking something.
Yeah, here's my thing. What doesn't make sense is he claims, it was known that Kalen DeBoer was on a short leash, and if he had lost to Auburn, then dude, that's not. Listen, Greg Byrne don't move like that. He
then immediately refutes himself by saying they wouldn't do it because of the buyout. Then he's not on borrowed time anyway.
That's a great observation, Jackson. You're 100% right. To me, that's why I'm like, and also just so you guys know, he had claimed that Kalen DeBoer was going to Penn State as well, right? So I think he's just trying to stir the pot. That just if they didn't make the playoffs, like would there? Listen, there's a difference in would there have been some heat from the fan base and definitely some pressure on Kalen DeBoer and staff if they lost to Auburn and didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, there would have been some pressure, some heat, especially from the fans. But I'm just telling you, if you listen to anything that Greg Byrne has said, there is no indication that at this point, right, only in 2 years, right, that he would do that. Do you guys not remember the quote that he had? He literally said, with Coach DeBoer, he basically said, like, hey, you expect you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to lose a couple. That's already telling you, hey, man, like, we understand he's not going to be necessarily the second coming of Coach Saban, but he's going to do a good job of putting us in position on a consistent basis, and we have faith in him from that standpoint. So this guy's video, in my opinion, I'm labeling that as cap. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it, but that was a video I was referencing earlier. So we just got to that. We got to get out of here. We got to make room. We got Wyatt coming up next. Big thanks to all you guys hanging out with us on this whole week, man. It's been a fun one, especially for a week that we didn't have a game this week, man. We've been locked and loaded, and it's been really fun, really entertaining. So big thanks to all you listeners, all our guests that have been on the show. Jackson, Reed, Chase Behind the Glass. Shout out to Chase. He graduated today from Mississippi State, and he got named Employee of the Month. So big shout out to Chase, our producer, man. He's awesome. We appreciate him being on our team and all the great things that he contributes to as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to stay real quick on the stream real quick, but I could close out for radio. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk Monday right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. And shout out Dom for the super chat. All right, I'm gonna stay right here real quick. I had to close out on radio because we were running out of time. But Dom, I didn't forget about you, man. I was running low on time there for radio. But big thanks for that $4.99 super chat. Our guy Dom, we call him the the likes police, the likes supervisor. He always is staying on top of that for us. Remember, check him out if you guys haven't already. I know he's going to start getting this content going here in a little bit. But he says, roll tide roll. Oklahoma is 0-4 in the playoffs. This game will be a dogfight. They're very aware of this record. Bama needs to dominate this game early. I don't know necessarily. I'll say this, Dom. Their playoff record, I don't know that personally. I guess I'll take your word for it. But I know they do have a pretty solid record when it comes to head-to-heads with us. My thing is this, like, I try not to lean too hard into, like, the historically this team did this, because the way I've always viewed it is, I mean, every year is a new year, new team, whatever. You know what I mean? So, like, it's unfortunately fortunately or unfortunately, those numbers shouldn't have too much effect on this game. I get what you're saying, though. But I will say you're 100% right in terms of Bama starting fast and dominating early. I think if you if you start this game slow and you start behind the 8 ball and you're talking about our offense on the road, Norman, a really good defense, trying to play catch up or trying to pull off, you know what I mean? Like some of the things we did earlier in the year with those kind of late game, not necessarily comebacks, not saying like a South Carolina situation, but you get what I'm saying? Like even like Missouri trying to, seal things. I don't like that for us, honestly. I really don't, given the way we've been playing recently offensively. I don't. I think starting fast and getting off to a good start will be huge. So I think you're 100% spot on with that, man. Clay, what's up, man? Happy Friday to you, brother. Drew, roll tide. Yeah, I was going to hang out here for just a couple more minutes real quick because I wanted to get to Dom's super chat for sure. And then also I wanted to pull that thing up because that question that Tia asked that I thought was really interesting about the checks. I'm going to do that. It's just we don't have the Oklahoma one. That's what I wanted to do. Let's do maybe Auburn. I'm sure we checked plenty in that one. I'm trying to think of a game where we ended up having to call timeouts because I feel like those are the games we really checked a lot. I mean, regardless, any of these are going to be checked. Let me just pull up the first one that I see. 2025. And if you're tuning in, you missed what I was talking about. We got a question because Coach Saban was talking about basically saying he thinks us spending so much time pre-snap is not really working as an advantage for us. And it really is almost, pointless given that the defense also has time to go and then check and change their defense. So what we were going to do was pull up some tape. Here's the Iron Bowl right here. We're going to pull up some tape and try to see like not in live action, but like actually watch it, like see what defenses do. Because my theory is if the offense gets under the 15-second mark, it's a lot harder because the defense, think about it, that defensive coordinator will have to have already gotten in what he wants them to get to before that mark because that's when their communications shut off. Hold on, let's see this. So Ty's looking at the sideline to see if he's got a green light or something. Yeah, you see the signal? See, he's looking for the signal. Looks like it got a green light. We didn't get to see what Auburn did on that one, so we'll have to go to another play. That was the first play of the game? So, like, in this instance, like, I would say this could be, and I know the play doesn't go well, right? Yeah, we're doing a fifth quarter today. Oh, and Tia's still in here. Good. All right, Tia, we finally got it pulled up so we can try to, I guess, decipher what we were talking about earlier with your question. So there's not really a whole bunch of checks going on here, but he did look to the sideline and get the okay. They got what they want. So in this situation, to me, it's like, all right, cool. You're at least having time to say, all right, is this what we want? Are we getting the look that we want? And they roll with it. Now, Auburn ends up playing. They're showing a too high shell pre-snap. They rotate down post-snap. So they're showing too high. They get it covered 3. Now, I don't know if they were going off of, hey, they're showing too high. That's the look we want. Or they're anticipating them rolling down to 3. I don't know, but that's what ends up happening. They roll down. They're playing cover 3. It looks like we're trying to hit. Bernard here is nowhere to go. Well, this guy does a nice job taking 3 through right here. Smart play by him because, again, it's covered. They're playing cover 3 here, but what happens is in cover 3, I mean, if you can match, which they end up doing, you got a guy matching that. That's why I like pattern match stuff. You're not just zone dropping. I mean, smart play by linebacker. But a lot of teams coach their guys how to do stuff like that and coverage like that. All right, hold on. We see a shift here. Let's see what happens. All right, we start in trips bunch, FIB. Get the move call. We get into an overload to the field, and it looks like we're about to send him in motion. Yeah. So these unbalanced formations, which is what they're getting to, this ain't going to count for like getting any checks or anything, but I just want to see what we end up doing. Faking the jet, or do we give it? No, we give it. Good play, though. I don't think we really watched the Iron Bowl tape. Did we watch this together, guys? I don't remember watching this. Like on the stream, at least. You better block by Jam, but is this what they call holding? They call this or no? Hold on, let's try to find a player we can really find out what we were trying to look for. All right. We got the fake clap. All right, here we go. Let's look at this one. Let's see what happens here. So we got a bunch. Look to the field. Got the fake clap. Auburn's in a single high shell right now. Let's see what they do. All right, so they immediately start signaling. But what's interesting is, I mean, this guy's not even looking to see like what we're getting to. They're just immediately signaling. So that leads me to believe that a lot of the, maybe not a lot, but we'll at least say here, that they already pre-snap knowing if Alabama checks we're getting to something. So that almost makes me wonder, like, our defenses almost trying to like flip it on us? Does that make sense? Like, could that be the case where a defense says, hey, we're going to show this to get them to check, and then like anticipating the check, and then we like, I know, like, stay with me. Does that make sense? Like, hey, we're going to go out here, we're going to show this knowing that they like to check and change. So we're almost like jumping the gun. Could that be what's going on here? Because look, like, watch this guy. As soon as we run up and check, I mean, he's already like, without even seeing. Normally what happens, like when we would check, like at least when I was playing, like we would see them like getting to something, or like we'd have an idea, you know what I mean? Kind of like what's about to come before we start checking. Like, what's the point of checking to something if you don't know what they're even checking to? So he's already alerting something before, and nothing has even like changed. See what I'm saying? Nothing has changed, and like look at all this communication. So either they're anticipating something or they're kind of one step ahead. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. That was interesting. I mean, they get to just a zone defense, but which, I mean, initially, I mean, with single high, the way they're covering, the way these guys are impressed like this. I mean, I guess maybe they're showing man. Wait, the same play? Yeah. They just get into a true zone drop. Which these corners, it's basically, they're I mean, it's cover two. I mean, these corners are playing as a cover two. All right, let's see another one. Hold on. So they already, now MD checks are normal. Those are going to be like within any call. So I mean, they're just getting to their MD check here. Got a bust down here though. Did we miss that? See, like, this is the timing though. Like, see what I mean? Like on timing, like if Ty's get this ball out quicker, I mean, that might not be a good example of the pre-snap thing. Let's see here. We didn't do it there. Sorry, I'm trying to get like specific ones that we're looking for. Get them to jump. All right, so here we go. We got an example here. Now we're checking. They don't even check on that one. They're just running whatever they're running. Let's see if we can get one more. So I'll go back to the chat and see what you guys got there. I'm just trying to. I don't even see a whole bunch. That's what I was saying. I feel like we need to go back to early. I feel like early in the year we were doing a little bit more. All right, here we're checking. Let's see what they do. Now they're checking. I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, just looking at that, I don't really. Again, what we're looking for is Tia was asking because Coach Saban made the comment like us running the clock down and doing all the checking pre-snap is basically nullified by the fact that the defense also has time, which it gives them time to do it. And I understand that, but I mean, there's sometimes you see the defense didn't check, you know. So if you're not working tempo, I don't really see the problem with at least trying to give yourself the ability to just say, hey, let's see if we can get the best look possible. I don't have a problem with it. Now, when you're wasting timeouts and stuff, I do have a problem with it. Because as you guys saw, there was a couple of those snaps where, I mean, Auburn didn't check. And so you do, have the luxury of saying, like, all right, let's see what they're in. All right, cool. Do we like this? Cool. If not, boom, we'll switch it. Tia said, yeah, I'm going to check the difference between we played Georgia 1 and game 2. Yeah, we can always go back and look at some of that stuff too. Tie move for nothing. Middle was wide open. Which play, Carlos? Across the middle. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Oh, wait. I'm gonna put the tape on another on the other side. That way I can look at the comments while I do it. All right. Will it happen? I don't know, but light could come on at any time for this team. Horton was wide open. Didn't our defense do that and came famous for changing the picture? Well, so disguises are very common. I'm just trying to look to see, like, when we check, what's the typical response? Because they're making it seem like, oh, these defenses then check and they getting this perfect thing. But my whole theory was, if you as an offense wait until after the 15-second mark to shift or trade, they no longer have the luxury of the communications either. So it's not like this is what I'm trying to explain. So right here, you got FIB, right? You got trips to the boundary, right? The ball's on the left hash, so this is trips to the boundary. My thing is, if you wait until after that 15-second mark and then you say, we're going to, motion Bernard over to make a 2x2 formation and say that you're trying to get a different look or whatever you're trying to get to, or take 81 who's lined up at the one spot down in the boundary and, go put him back in the C area or something like that. My thing is the defense then would have limited time to say, oh, they just got to this. Because normally the way our checks work on defense is we're responding to – that's why I was confused. Like, these guys were already checking into something before they even saw what they were getting. Normally, like, the way it works is, hey, they just went from, 3x1, trips to the boundary. Now they just motioned over, and now it's a 2x2 set. You have to see what the new formation is to really know exactly what you want to check to if you are going to make that check. That's kind of what I was getting at. Oh, he said not we, Saban said that. No, I know, but that's why I'm explaining to you guys. I get what Coach Saban was saying, but at the same time, I don't know if it's as well. Let's keep it going. Let's keep looking. Let's see. Let's just keep looking at these. Wait, did we check to a runner in here? Hold on. What just happened? All right, so we got the fake count. We're looking to the sidelines. I wish we could see the game clock at the same time to know like what the countdown is. I wish there was a way to do that. Wait, we can. We just got to pull up the TV copy. We got to be careful with that, though. Damn, if we pulled up the TV copy, we could legit see what I'm looking for. We'll do that later. But let's see this. So we're getting to a check. Let's see what they do. Now they're communicating, but again, there hasn't really been much movement. Only movement we see is they take Horton and they just tighten him down to the hash. Which maybe that's why they're checking now, because of this split being a little bit closer. I don't know, unless they're checking just because we checked. Who knows? That would be if that is the case. Then if they're checking because we checked, that's what Coach Saban's talking about. But nothing really changed other than his alignment. That's what I'm saying. I don't. Which it looks. Let's get this guy. I thought he was coming. All right, let's see. 1st and 10. Here we go. We got Trips bunch with a nub tight on the backside to the field. No check there. Let's see what we got here. No check there. Here we go. That's his signal. If you guys haven't picked up on that, anytime he does that or whatever, like the boom thing or whatever, they always break out into that shifter trade. All right, so here we go. This is a good one. Now we're checking. Let's see what they do. This is a full check. So not only did we shift a trade, we trying to see what 24 is doing, because he's obviously signaling something up front. So they're checking their coverage clearly. So you saw what he just did? This guy? Saw he did speaking to John Cena's last match. That used to, well, for us, we always call that clear, meaning like it's like basically clear means like this guy covers this guy. So he has the luxury or the freedom to go take the inside. I don't know if that's the same signal for them, which I don't think so. I think it's something different for them, but because he's also looking over here. But he's pointing over there, so it's interesting. Oh, well, that's why they're running this little stunt. But let's see. I just want to see if they just checked into that whole blitz, because remember, we're looking to see how they respond when we check. I want to see if there's anything showing they were already running something like that, which this guy looks confused. He doesn't know what he's doing. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they did like they checked their play or anything like that. Oh, they're not doing a clear motion. He's also doing on the back end too. If I had to guess, guys, what I would say is there a lot of teams are, because we used to do the same thing. We used to always have a base call, then like have like a secondary call that we like anticipated going to. That's what I feel like you're seeing right here. It's interesting. Let me oh, of course that. Let's look at like two more things real quick. I'll tell you what, we love FIB. FIB means the formation, the boundary, by the way. Which, see why they're checking, because everybody always has FIB checks. So now we're checking. Let's see what they do. So this is a good example right here. Because we literally shifted and now we're actually getting to a hold check. Let's see if it really changes what they do. They didn't change. So that's I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is while Coach Saban's probably right on, sometimes, yes, his defense start checking, doing stuff too. You just saw it. I mean, we just checked and we're doing other things, and they stayed with what they were running. I mean, they initially they shifted a little bit, given, again, we just did a whole, we changed our whole formation, went FIB. But even afterwards, like, watch Ty, like, see when he does his signal, fake clap, and now they're, doing something. I know we didn't change much, but you see what I'm saying? Nothing really changed on the back end. They're playing what they're playing. So my point is, I know this is like a long-winded way of saying this. I still think there is some benefit of being a little more strategic at times. Now, if it calls to go tempo because you think that'll actually give you a little bit more, like, that's just a better, I guess for example, we have been thinking maybe tempo would maybe give us an advantage offensively. That's a different story. But in terms of like what we're doing, if you have a quarterback that can handle it, which I think he can, I don't think it's as big as a problem as maybe Coach Saban was saying. Just my opinion, though. But I think I'd probably, if I were you guys, listen to him over me any day. All right. That said, I think I'm going to get out of here in a minute. See what we got real quick. Wait, this girl was in a relationship with Moore for years, broke it off with him, and then went to go snitch. More details coming out? Wow. Yeah, that I could already guess it's going to get messy. To guys like that, put staff out there until they're right. Then they see what I told you. Wait. Oh, Tia. Guys like that, put stuff out there until they're right. Oh, you're talking about the guy with the whole Penn State and the board of Penn State. Yeah, that's they because think about it. If you're right, you're a genius. If you're wrong, everybody just oh, you're wrong. Then they just move on. That's why people do stuff like that. All right. That said, we'll bring up the film stuff next week for sure. I just wanted to look at that. I know we weren't really breaking a whole bunch down. I really was just trying to look to see how these defenses are responding and reacting when we do these checks. If in fact they're countering the check 100% of the time, which we just saw really wasn't. Sometimes they didn't really change much at all. So to me, I think that does show there's some benefit on doing what we're doing in terms of trying to get the best looks possible. But the next step is you got to execute. And I still stand on what I said the other day that I think our offensive coaching has to be better. Like, checks and all that aside, I'm talking about from just like a play calling standpoint, really just kind of leaning into like what actually works for us and to help these guys out. I don't think we've been doing a great job with that. Are they calling checks or on running plays? Could that be a tell that we're throwing and not checking? No, that's a good question, Zachary. So no, you'll also see checks on running plays too. Sometimes you check to a running play. I mean, a check, that's a really good question. Check could really be anything. I mean, you could say, hey, if we get a 6-man box, right? If they're light on the box, say you get a 6-man box, hey, we're going to check to, inside zone. Say there's a running play you want to check to. At least in the NFL, you see a lot more of that too. You might have a pass play call, but you can check to a run given, the numbers. It could be a number of things. You realize there's a lot of grass through the field. You can check to a quick, screen type deal. I mean, it just depends kind of what teams have put in and then what the tendencies are, of that defense or what they anticipate that week. It's a good question though, man. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's, if they're checking, it's definitely a pass. Now, there probably are some tendencies where a team could probably pull it up and say, hey, man, when they check, it's 75% a pass. That could be a note to keep track of. But I've seen us check and we're running. Hell, sometimes, especially in the league, they'll check just going from, you might be running, you'll go from the boundary to the field, right? Things like that, just the direction of things. So really good question, though. That said, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to get some lunch. Hope you guys have a great weekend, man. Big thanks to all you guys. Always come hang out with us here on the channel, via radio, all that good stuff. And looking forward to next week, man. I'll keep lining up some more guests. I don't know if we'll be able to get a player interview again next week because I know their prep started today and they're really not prep. They've already prepped, but practice started back. After having a couple of days off, they're working out and doing that stuff. But I'll work on getting some guests next week. We'll definitely get Ron Anderson back on here, former Oklahoma running back. We had him on last time. We'd love to get his thoughts on this game as we head into it, and some more folks will be on here too. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you haven't, man, on your way out, hit that like button, subscribe, all that stuff. follow us on X. That's where we do most of our like updates and stuff like that. And Instagram is where you can do that too. Then yeah, you'll be up to date. But thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great weekend, man. Look forward to seeing you all next